Let's see now how all the capabilities we've described come into action. This is Cynet's dashboard. Even before explaining anything, the first thing you see is that everything here is about the entire environment: files, users, hosts, and networks. Cynet provides total environment visibility. Let's see how it's done. We'll start high. Cynet gives you a bird's eye view on all the network, mapping every host, server, or other connected device. You can zoom in or out to gain knowledge both on the assets themselves as well as their mutual connections. Going one step further, we can see a graphic display of one host. On the right side, all its activities, and on the left, this host's interaction with its ecosystem, what users are logged in, what files run on that host, and to which network addresses this host communicated. Above, we can see the activity timeline of this host from the first time Cynet has seen it to this point in time. And finally, we can go low level and see myriads of information pieces. We can see files that run, all the users that are logged in. We can go to the system and see what operating system updates are in place, installed software, and so on. Now, the same level of both activity context and high resolution granularity exists also for the other parts of the environments: files, users, and network, which is here divided into domains and sockets. Moving to users, we can see various filters to find out interesting users. There are favorites, like high risk. If we click on that, we get a list of all users that are at risk in the environment. And the same goes for files, and we can see here dozens of high-resolution search filters, which are used per visibility or investigation needs. This total environment visibility, from high-level topology to granular details, is the infrastructure for all of Cynet's capabilities. This is exactly what we mean when we say that the attack surface is way beyond your endpoints. Let's see now how this total environment visibility builds up the 360 prevention and detection. For that, we'll move to the alerts page and see how Cynet responds to a common attack scenario: initial compromise with malicious email attachment, followed by privilege escalation, reconnaissance, lateral movement, and data exfiltration. So naturally, we'll start with prevention of the initial compromise. The alert tells us that there was an exploitation attempt via a Word document. It's a common attack vector to send a social engineered email with a seemingly innocent document that is weaponized by an exploit. And this is a good place to talk about another proactive aspect of prevention. Zooming in on this host and clicking on vulnerability assessment, we see that there is a security patch from 2016 that wasn't applied, a clear security gap. Remember that over 80% of breaches can be avoided altogether by keeping your systems and apps up to date, and Cynet assists you here as well. Progressing to detection, we're keeping up with the attack standard flow. Following the initial compromise, the attacker escalates its privileges. We can see that the user has changed from Cynet Lab Zion to anti-authority system. Cynet detects it and raises a user alert. The attacker then performs reconnaissance activities and scans the environment to find other potential targets. Cynet detects that as well with a network alert. We're skipping to the stage in which the attacker believes it found a valuable host, WebSRV1, and performs lateral movement to log into it. Cynet detects it and raises a network alert, notifying that the attacker used a technique called pass the hash. Now the attacker has reached its destination host, WebSRV1, and attempts to access the residing documents. What the attacker doesn't know is that the files it accessed are decoys that Cynet planted to lure him into revealing his presence. So a file alert is raised, telling us that these decoy files have been stolen. And finally, the attacker attempts to exfiltrate these documents using DNS tunneling, and Cynet detects this as well and raises another network alert. So to conclude the detection part, we've seen how Cynet prevents and detects a full attack lifecycle across various file, host, user, and network attack vectors. There is no other solution that provides such coverage. However, Cynet does much more than merely detect. As you can see, for all these alerts, the auto-remediation is checked, meaning that Cynet's protection for these threats is fully automated and doesn't require any human intervention, matching to each threat its respective remediation activity. Block traffic to the DNS exfiltration, disable user for lateral movement, and so on. What we have here in practice is the ability to move beyond detection to actually block an attack across multiple points in its lifecycle. Automated protection that sets Cynet apart from any other security categories and products. However, as we've said before, there always will be cases where you need to manually operate alerts. In that case, Cynet provides full context of all the involved environment entities, user, file, network, or host, enabling you to manually remediate each according to the threat's context. Let's use the DNS exfiltration as an example. The initial alert delivers all we need to know to resolve it, and we can open the remediation menu and manually select and go over to the network and manually select the block traffic option. We'll also go to the user and can disable the user as well. Following that, we can check this user-specific ecosystem and maybe apply remediations to other hosts or network addresses. Back to the manual remediation. Dependent on your organization's policy, you can save the newly crafted set of remediation activities to automate response to any future occurrence of such malicious activity. Since the concept of post-compromise remediation is new to customers, some of you might choose to start with detection mode only and gradually build your trust in Cynet alerts, adding both the pre-built and their own user-defined remediations. Cynet provides customers the flexibility to determine the pace of their journey towards the fully automated threat discovery and mitigation. And since we're at manual alert operation, if you feel that you need an expert's eye on a certain alert, SIOPS is only a click away in the console. So you can send any file you're unsure of, and of course you can send also more detailed alert description via email. So that wraps up our demonstration of Cynet's automated threat discovery and mitigation throughout all attack stages across the entire environment.